Good morning, everybody. So today I am going to start showing you how I make that glitter journal that I posted a couple days ago. So I've already cut my paper. I used 140-pound watercolor paper, an 18 by 24 sheet that I folded in half and ripped, then folded those two in half and ripped, and each one of these, I have 8 of them, are 9 by 6. So I think I have 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can get 8 9 by 6 pieces out of an 18 by 24. Or you can just take a 9 by 12 and fold it in half and keep doing that. You can get a 9 by 12 Canson watercolor paper at Walmart. But either way, whatever you have and whatever size you choose to do, just make sure it's watercolor paper. So you can do these in bigger. Now, after I paint these, I'm going to be folding them. So the book is going to be 6 by 4.5. But if you want to make a bigger one, you can. If you want to take an 18 by 24 and fold it over to make a 9 by 12, that would be fine too. But for the purposes of the lesson, I'm just using these. The inks I'm using are Brea Reese glitter inks, and they come in these little bottles. Now you can use other inks too. You can use Bombay ink, not alcohol ink, but any inks that you may have. I also use watercolor, but mainly I'm using the Brea Reese glitter inks. Now if you have other inks that don't have glitter, you can add a little glitter to it if you like, or you can use watercolor or liquid watercolor and add a little glitter to it if you would like to do that. I only put a few drops in here of all my favorite colors. I shake it beforehand because the glitter is all at the bottom, see? Excuse my hands too, because I just had a spill of this glitter ink here, so I had a lot of ink all over my hands. So I fill up all these. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And sometimes I can't tell what color it is, but because these two look alike because they're very dark, they're very saturated inks. They're beautiful. The whole thing though is they're not light fast. Because they're dye based and not pigment based, they will fade. But they're perfect for a journal because it doesn't see the sunlight. The journal will be closed. So the journals I've made with these still look as good as the first day. Always keep that in mind when you're using something, any supply. Is it made of dye or pigment? If it's made of dye, it's going to fade. Even Sharpie markers that are permanent are made of dye, so they are going to fade. And alcohol inks are made of dye, so they fade. But people use a lot of protection when they're making the alcohol ink paintings. I don't know if it works. Alcohol ink is fairly new, so we don't know if it's going to last 20 or 30 years with the protection on it. Now I have more inks than I do holes. I have 20 inks, I think. But I'm just doing this to show you my process. Okay. I don't want my hands to be, I don't mind that they're dirty, but I don't want to get spots on my papers. So now I have my nice clean water here. I'm using my round brush that I've been using. I also have other brushes here, my flat brush. I may use that a little bit. I'll tell you if I do. And I'm going to start with my first page. Now this is just how I do it. You can apply these inks any way you want. But I love doing this style. I also do other styles when I'm making these books. So I spray the paper. Oh, got a little green on it already. I guess I'll start with green. Okay, so now I sprayed a little bit of water on. I'm going to take my brush. It's wet. I'm I'm going to dip it in the green, and I'm just going to start brushing across. Dipping in water. I use a lot of water. And I just keep going back and forth, kind of in a stripy fashion. Now I'll change colors. I'm getting all ink on here because of my fingers, but it's really not a big deal. But sometimes I don't want a different color on my page. For this it'll be fine because I'm using green on this page. And then I'm going to wipe my hands down more. And the page is going to buckle, and that's fine. And I just keep going across, doing very messy, watery stripes, and let the colors do what they will. And I'll turn it around. Water, using a lot of water. And that's it for that page. Now I'm going to let it dry. I put them all on the floor. And I just moved to the next one. Right now I'm going to make sure my fingers are dry though. I think I'm going to do another blue-green one because it might still be a little pigment on my fingers. I wiped it off, but now I'm using more of the side of the brush, see? And I'll just take more water and go across and let it do what it will. This is how I just proceed on each piece, using different colors, letting them blend. And don't forget there's glitter in here, so when it dries, you're going to have a nice, colorful, glittery page. On to the next. I'm going to use a bigger brush here, dry it off a little bit. That's enough. I'm going to let that dry. And don't forget they're going to dry different than how you see them because they're going to take a thicker brush, but a round brush. And I'm realizing that I forgot to put my pink ink into the palette. That's okay though. I can have nice effects with these other colors.